rescue lion Romeo. When your only purpose in life is to entertain others, laughter, excitement and sweet treats, nothing beats a day at the circus, at least for its human visitors. However, there is a dark side to it. For many of the animals who are forced to perform in these shows, their life is simple torture. Lion Romeo is one of the many wild animals that had to endure such a fate, having to perform in a circus night after night, afterwards crawling back into his home that consisted of a 2x5 meters cage on the back of a truck. He was born in 2019 in France and belonged to the circus. 2 of his comrades died of starvation, while Romeo and 2 other lions were rescued by Action Protection Animal, Natural Centrum and Stichting AAP in August of 2023, ready for a new start. Afterwards, he was brought to the rescue center of Belgian NGO Natural Centrum. The team on site had their hands full in keeping Romeo alive as he arrived in a bad condition. Before his rescue, Romeo had been fed with expired meat. As a consequence, he was skinny and had salmonella as well as a skin infection. Fortunately, under the care of the staff, his health started to improve. Romeo is a white lion, making it very likely that he comes from inbreeding. He is also very friendly with people, suggesting he was raised by humans, which carries severe long-term health risks. Four Paws and the Belgian organization are regularly in contact with each other for various projects. When we learned about Romeo's arrival at Natural Centrum and his sad story, we immediately had an idea. We have been looking for a mate for Lioness Nola for years now, and since she was also rescued from France, where she had to perform in a circus as well, looks like we have now found her perfect match. Lioness Nola has been living at Lions Rock Big Cat Sanctuary in South Africa since 2018 and was socialist with Lion Side, who unfortunately passed away in 2020. Ready for takeoff. The big day for Romeo has come on the 13th of May 2024. After a vet check, Romeo was loaded into a big cat transport crate and brought to Brussels Airport to board a flight to South Africa. 2 days of travel later, the rescued lion arrived at Lions Rock. Despite a bit of initial stress from his journey, which is totally normal and to be expected, he's now feeling right at home and already exploring his new digs. Plus, he already had his first hearty meal here at Lions Rock and is starting to uncover his favorite hangout spots. From Belgium to South Africa, Romeo deserves to spend the rest of his life in the best possible surroundings at Lions Rock Big Cat Sanctuary in South Africa. Right now, Romeo's unwinding in an enclosure next to Lioness Nola, whom he will get to know as soon as our dedicated caretakers and experts are confident that he has settled in well. We'll keep you posted on their budding friendship, so stay tuned. Rescue Puma Tikkum, a victim of the wildcat trade in Europe. After the 8-week-old Puma cub was smuggled from the Czech Republic to Germany, he lived with his owner in a small apartment in Baden-Württemberg. After several residents and the landlord informed the veterinary office, when they saw the man with the puma on a leash in the city park, the competent authority controlled the attitude. The owner was ordered to bring the puma immediately into a species-appropriate environment due to the lack of vaccine protection. However, Tikkum first had to be accommodated in the quarantine ward of the Russelsheim Animal Shelter for a few weeks. Unfortunately, a release into the wild is not possible as Tikkum was exposed to human contact only and would not be able to survive in the wilderness. Since February 2019, the little puma lives at Tierart Wild Animal Sanctuary and currently lives in a part of the tiger plant. A special puma enclosure is to be built as fast as possible. In September, Tikkum celebrated his first birthday, and of course there was a special puma-appropriate cake and presents. Tikkum's story. The competent authority was notified shortly before Christmas 2018 about a male puma cub in a private apartment in the German city, La. The owner was ordered to bring the puma immediately into a species-appropriate location. The then 2-month-old exotic pet was legally acquired in the Czech Republic, but illegally smuggled to Germany, with no husbandry permit, import and export documents between the Czech Republic and Germany, and with exchange vaccination and proof of origin. The only a few weeks old puma was purchased from a Czech breeder for €2,300 and brought to Germany by car. In addition to the reasons mentioned above, the importation into Germany was also illegal, in particular, because the animal had no vaccinations. Liability for this content. EU is a paradise for illegal wildlife smuggling. Tycom's story is yet another bizarre example of how easily exotic wild animals can be bought in EU countries and smuggled into other EU countries. This is due to insufficient controls and legislation in the EU. Of particular concern is the booming tiger trade in the EU. Our investigators have discovered that tiger traders operating in Europe were willing and able to sell and facilitate the transfer of tigers to Asian countries, where demand for their parts for traditional medicine is causing mass cruelty and the decline of the species. We can no longer allow this to happen. Alternatives to non-anesthetized piglet castration. What options are there to castrate piglets without pain? The surgical castration of male piglets in pig farming is often presented as having no alternative. This extremely painful intervention is usually justified with the prevention of the risk of the so-called boar taint. Boar taint occurs extremely rarely and only when the meat is heated. There are also several alternatives to surgical castration. In addition to boar fattening and immunocastration, a vaccination against boar taint, surgical castration under general anesthesia, and post-operative analgesia is also an intermediate option. All three alternatives are acceptable from an animal welfare point of view. There are also new alternatives arising with the progress of technology, like genetic castration. On the other hand, methods that do not adequately eliminate pain or consciousness, such as local anesthesia, are not acceptable. Alternatives to castration. Boar fattening. The male pigs are raised and fattened without being castrated. The animals are more active, and there may be increased activity in the barn. The housing conditions must therefore be adapted to the special needs of the boars. Good management is required. In the UK, Ireland and some other countries, boars are traditionally raised without being castrated at all. In other countries, there are already some companies that have switched to boar fattening, but not many. Immunocastration. Vaccination against boar taint. A vaccination is carried out 2 to 3 times, which suppresses the testicular activity of the boars. The testicles grow less and there is no boar taint. The vaccine is applied with a safety injector. An unintentional self-injection, which could also endanger users, is practically impossible. Immunocastration is not a hormonal treatment, and the pork therefore does not contain hormones. This is very important for consumers to know, as it can otherwise lead to false consumer information. New Zealand and Australia are countries that have successfully used immunocastration since 1998. It has also been carried out extensively in Brazil since 2005. The preparation has been approved as a vaccine in Switzerland since 2007, and in the EU since 2009. It is used primarily in Belgium. Genetic castration. Gene editing is currently not permitted across the European Union, but that might change in the near future. There are constant new developments and research to improve animal welfare, and countries outside of EU already working towards the implementation of genetic castration to prevent the unnecessary suffering of pigs during castration. There are many possible ways genes can be edited to castrate the pigs and therefore prevent the boar taint. One option seems to be by suppressing the male phenotype where the testes do not develop, even though the pig's genotype is male. Disaster relief for animals. Once disaster strikes, our trained team reaches out to local authorities and strategic partner organizations on the ground to support efforts with animal rescue and care, veterinary public health services, and the protection of livelihoods. Our team is equipped with expertise in technical emergency management for animals in disaster and offers guidance to the authorities when requested. Our disaster work with local authorities and through strategic networks in selected regions, we are able to strengthen local capacity, prepared to support actions with the authorities to increase preparedness knowledge, so that everyone is prepared if a hurricane hits, a volcano erupts, earthquakes happens, a cyclone strikes. Animal disaster relief in Turkey and Syria. Our team has been working together with local partners in the region following the devastating earthquakes. They have been delivering emergency care to injured and displaced animals, pulling them from the rubble, treating injuries, providing food and shelter. Learn more about the earthquake relief for animals in Turkey and Syria. International impact with strong partnerships. Four Paws has been an active cooperation partner of the Blue Cross of India, BCI, for almost 10 years. Thanks to our cooperation, we rescue about 17,000 animals a year in India, which is more than 46 animals a day. Hurricane season in the midst of a pandemic. As hurricane season begins in the Atlantic Basin, forecasters warn of 2020 being an above-average storm season. Preparation is key for both communities and animals. Disaster relief in the Philippines. The Tol volcano erupted on Luzon Island, also home to the capital Manila. Many animals could not escape the big amounts of ash. Four Paws provided relief with our partner AKF. We were there to help animal disaster relief in Australia. Over 10 million hectares of land has burned right across Australia. That's the equivalent size of a number of European countries. Bushfires and heat stress events present a grave and growing threat to animals, particularly Australia's wildlife. Four Paws supported local animal groups, animal disaster relief in Romania. In late November, the heartbreaking news broke that a cargo ship carrying over 14,000 sheep overturned. The crew was safely evacuated, but thousands of sheep died. Only some were expected to be alive and suffering. Our partner Arca Animal Rescue and Care Association was able to go on board the vessel to save as many sheep as possible. In the end, we had 180 survivors. Four Paws is now taking care of them. Animal disaster relief in India. Cyclone Fani hit India very hard. The Indian government had done an amazing job of evacuating its citizens, but many animals had to be left behind and suffering. Four Paws was able to get access to remote and hard-to-reach areas and provide veterinary care and assist injured animals. Shelter adoption program designed to support a dog's journey from the shelter to a loving home. The 15th of November, 2022. Four Paws believes that every companion animal has the right to a loving and caring home for life. Although shelters help to get dogs and cats off the streets, they should always be a temporary solution and not become a permanent home. This is why the Four Paws Shelter Adoption Program is designed to promote local adoption, where pets are placed into responsible homes with owners who understand and fulfill their needs. Shelter Adoption Academy. As part of the Shelter Adoption Program, Four Paws has launched the Shelter Adoption Academy. It is a free e-learning course designed to help shelters increase their local adoption rates by providing best practice guidelines to help improve the skills and knowledge of shelter staff and volunteers, supporting them to overcome the most common challenges to adoption. The Shelter Adoption Academy is currently available in English, Ukrainian, Bulgarian, Romanian, Thai, Bahasa Indonesian, Vietnamese, and Russian. Course details. Who can participate? This course is designed for anyone working or volunteering with rescue animals or on companion animal adoption, for example in shelters, rehoming centers, or rescue organizations. It is suitable for shelters and organizations around the world with limited resources and in need of help, support, and training. Course outcome. The e-learning course will build knowledge to support a range of practical skills to help shelter staff and volunteers overcome any of the most common obstacles to shelter adoption. It aims to substantially increase the adoption rate in shelters so that thousands of dogs are placed in responsible and caring homes, create a local adoption culture, improve the quality of life for animals during their stay in shelters. Course length. The Shelter Adoption Academy consists of 8 modules, providing learners with the knowledge and tools to support the journey of dogs from a shelter to a permanent responsible home. The course should take approximately 10 hours to complete. Vasilina, a true fighter. Vasilina's story is nearly unbelievable. She was found all alone, surviving the wreckages of war on Ukraine's streets in the Kharkiv region. The young lioness had escaped from private keeping in a house. The authorities tracked down the owner and convinced him to give up Vasilina. Fortunately, she could be captured, and after temporary accommodation at the Center of Wild Animal Rescue in Ukraine, was brought to our Mafalda Big Cat Sanctuary in the Netherlands. Mafalda, a safe haven for big cats. Mafalda is a specialized center for traumatized rescued big cats, where Vasilina got the best care to recover from what she had gone through. Step by step she gained confidence. This was the place where Vasilina met lion Nicola. Nicolina, a love story. Nicola shares a similar story as Vasilina. He was found all alone on Montenegro streets. Slowly the two lions got to know each other, first through the fence, and then they were moved to a shared enclosure. Since then, they are one heart and one soul, a forever home at Lions Rock. Vasilina and Nicola still had their whole lives in front of them, which is why we brought them to our Lions Rock Big Cat Sanctuary in South Africa. Here, they have a huge nature-like enclosure to roam around and explore. Vasilina still has her whole life ahead of her, and it is your gift that shapes her future. The beautiful lioness deserves only the best after her traumatizing past. Will you adopt Vasilina? As Vasilina's sponsor, you will receive regular updates, photos and videos provided by our caretakers. You will also get a personalized certificate that you can download and print. From a war-torn region in Ukraine to safety in the South Africa. Will you follow Vasilina's unique journey to happiness? Your adoption will support Vasilina's fresh start in life. You will help fund her care and support her species-appropriate life at Lions Rock Big Cat Sanctuary. But it will do even more than that. Your support makes sure that we can continue to help more lions like Vasilina and create a world where people treat animals with empathy, respect and understanding. Donations are used where needed most. Michael, the 3-legged bear who loves swimming. Michael had a rough start in life. He was kept under terrible conditions in an unlicensed Polish zoo. During a fight with another bear, Michael lost his foreleg, with serious behavioral issues. He was limping in circles in the concrete enclosure, desperate to get out. But now his days are filled with joy. Thanks to the support of our amazing community, we were able to rescue Michael in 2011. Since he arrived in our bear sanctuary Muritz, he completely changed and became a total different bear. Michael is incredibly playful and curious. He loves swimming, digging holes, playing with branches and sticks and enjoys his life a lot. His missing foreleg doesn't stop him from anything. Michael is waiting to be adopted. Your adoption will help fund his care and support his species-appropriate life at Bear Sanctuary Muritz. But it will do even more than that. Your support does make sure that we can continue to help more bears like Michael and create a world where people treat animals with empathy, respect and understanding. As Michael's sponsor, you will receive regular updates, photos and videos from his caretakers. You will also get a personalized certificate that you can download and print. Your adoption makes a difference. It does not only contribute to Michael's care, it helps to protect bears in need all around the world. We are working hard to end the suffering of bears kept in tiny barren cages, the cruel practice of bear farming, and the abuse of bears in circuses. Your support does even more than that. It helps to protect all animals in need and brings us one step closer to a world where people treat animals with empathy, respect and understanding. Donations are used where needed most. Cesar, the friendly tiger who overcame his shyness exploited in a club. The 11-year-old tiger Cesar had a sad start to life, being exploited in a private club in Ukraine, and on top of that, used for intensive breeding. Dehydrated, malnourished and lying in his own feces, he was left to die. A new start in life. In October 2021, Fopaws managed to transfer Cesar from Ukraine all the way to our Mafalda Big Cat Sanctuary in the Netherlands. Finally, he could start a new species-appropriate life and get the care he deserves. When he arrived, he was exhausted from the long journey and needed time to rest. But with every day, he relaxed a bit more. He explored his enclosure, started with some friendly chuffs towards his animal caretakers, and even met his beautiful neighbor, Tigress Deli. But above all, he discovered his new hammock, which immediately seemed to get his approval. Will you adopt Cesar? Your adoption will help fund his care and support his life at Falida Big Cat Sanctuary. But it will do even more than that. Your support does make sure that we can continue to help more tigers like Cesar and create a world where people treat animals with empathy, respect and understanding. As Cesar's sponsor, you will receive regular updates, photos and videos provided by his caretakers. You will also get a personalized certificate that you can download and print. Your adoption makes a difference. It does not only contribute to Cesar's care, but helps to protect big cats in need all around the world. We are working hard to end the suffering of big cats kept in tiny barren cages, and for the cruel practice of canned hunting. Your support does even more than that. It helps to protect all animals in need and brings us one step closer to a world where people treat animals with empathy, respect and understanding. Donations are used where needed most. Rescue dog Freya, from rescued stray to beloved AAI team member, in a heartwarming tale of resilience and compassion. Freya has joined the Animal Assisted Interventions AAI project in Bulgaria as its newest member. Found abandoned in a rubbish bin, she was brought to our team's attention by concerned citizens and was immediately admitted to the clinic in Bankia. Freya's condition was dire, with numerous wounds and scrapes all over her body, coupled with fear and stress. To make matters worse, she was diagnosed with a dangerous tick-borne disease, necessitating months of intensive antibiotic treatment. However, Freya's remarkable recovery and her innate affinity for people caught the team's attention, starting all over again. Recognizing Freya's positive nature and quick learning abilities, our skilled dog trainer saw great potential in her as an invaluable addition to the AAI Bulgaria team. Her kind brown eyes and soft black fur only further endeared her to everyone, making her the top choice for this new role. Today, Freya has found her forever home, as her dedicated dog handler, Ekaterina, adopted her, showering her with the love and care she deserves. Ekaterina and Freya have embarked on a rigorous training regime to achieve their ultimate goal, obtaining a license as a qualified dog handler in the AAI team. The team takes immense pride in Freya's progress, firmly believing that she will become a true friend to the children and adults they work with, a true friend. With her soft fur reminiscent of a warm winter blanket, Freya possesses a gentle and childlike nature that can melt even the toughest hearts. Her love for children is undeniable, and she thrives in their presence, drawing strength and motivation from making their world a little brighter. At home, Freya teaches Ekaterina's family valuable lessons in patience, understanding, and forgiveness. When they venture out together, her true power lies in spreading happiness and joy to everyone they encounter. Freya's journey from a discarded stray to a cherished AAI team member is a testament to the transformative power of love, care, and second chances. Her story serves as a reminder that every animal deserves a chance at a fulfilling life, and that their presence can bring immeasurable joy and healing to those in need.